maybe since the internet really started taking off in the way it did, around like 2016, when we really got to like the internet as it is now, the most common thing you hear is like, ignore the haters, F the haters. The haters are stupid, the haters are dumb. And this is true, largely, I want to say. I think that's the important way to start this episode, is saying that largely, no, you shouldn't be like, these guys hate me, let's go talk to them and listen to them. I don't think that's how that should work at all. But I want to almost pitch a alternative vision for this, right? I think that maybe there's a chance that haters are the most important part of any journey when you're trying to do something, right? There's lots of artists that watch this, I know. I think the last time we polled it, it was around 80% of you make art. Really cool that is. I think I've cited that like 20 times now because I'm really proud of it, but I think that this is something important for everyone to keep in mind, right? And I think it all starts with positioning, right? There is a very common idea in marketing of positioning. Largely, I want to talk here about positioning against things, right? Of course, you can't make anything in the universe that's neutral. You can't make anything that is going to please every single person. I mean, look at like the most popular things on earth, right? The Beatles, one of the most popular bands ever. Ton of haters, right? Drake, I think, is like the biggest pop star right now still. Like, I think he has the most sales. Don't need to tell you, that guy's got haters. BTS, I think, is like the biggest band ever or whatever, right? They're coming back soon, I've been told. They also have lots of haters, right? It's impossible, even if you're trying to be super marketable, to please everybody, right? And I actually want to say that's where you should start. That's a very, very good thing. If everybody, whoever comes across you is like, you're awesome, dude, you're doing something wrong. Because either A, they're lying, or B, you are not making something that has teeth to grab onto, right? Think of the people in your life that are like people pleasers, who are like, oh man, they get along with everyone. They're lying to people. They're not telling people the truth, right? You need to be more authentic if you're pleasing everyone. Pleasing everyone's not real, right? So we've already established you need haters. You need them somewhere. You need people who don't like you, right? It's not so much about making people like you as much as it's making the wrong people or the right people not like you, right? Positioning against is something that is done all the time, right? I'm going to use kind of a heavy example here, but this is very recent, happened largely on the internet, and it's still huge. So I think it's a really easy way to go here. The whole Blue Lives Matter thing, right? Obviously, in 2020, Black Lives Matter got that huge second wave. It became the biggest thing on earth. And then a bunch of racist people are like, I don't like this. Blue Lives Matter, right? If you go back to 2005, right? Saying we need to be nicer to cops is the least revolutionary statement on earth. Everybody would be like, yeah, like, nice, dude, you cracked the code. Like, this isn't something that is, people might agree with you, like, oh yeah, you should be nice to cops. You might get people who are like, cool, yeah, I agree. You're never gonna get anybody who's passionate about that, right? Then this other thing comes along that a certain group of people, racist people, don't like. So then it's very easy. You just say something else. They could have said anything. It could have been, a purple or whatever color they wanted to use. And they could have been talking about fire, but they could have talked about anything. And it would have worked because all they're doing is positioning against. Bit of a heavy example to use because we are talking about internet haters, but I think it's great because it really is, the most recent example of this just making something huge. I think nowadays I see more of the blue police flag than anything else because it worked, right? So how do you take that and be like, I'm going to make sure that the right people don't like me? Well, it's very easy. What are you trying to do, right? Super literal example. Let's say you're trying to make a page about pizza, right? You're trying to do pizza. And then you have somebody who is like, I hate you, you're the worst person ever, and you click on their page. They're following a bunch of people that make content about French fries. Great job. This guy's a French fry guy. You're a pizza guy. You don't want him liking you, right? Even better if he's an anti-pizza guy. Sometimes you do want, there's such thing as like a coalition too, right? Like sometimes you'll want, there might be great overlap in the pizza guy going with the burger guy, but largely you want to make sure that people who are against what you would usually be doing aren't liking you, right? Somebody's not going to like you. You got to make sure it's the right guy. That's the big thing here, I think. So once you get that down, right, how do you take that and make sure you're doing the right stuff, right? Because there's also a great chance that people don't like you, and you do need to listen to that, right? A group of people don't start hating on something because it's perfect and they're insecure, right? The common line, the common thing to do is to be like, they just have hate in their heart. Listen, yes, the average guy going around on YouTube and being like, and commenting hate comments, they probably need a hobby or two, right? I'm not denying that at all. However, it's not as cartoonish as a lot of people would like to make it out to be. You know, people aren't just going, oh my God, I'm making the Pepsi logo. Just keep going. People aren't just walking around like, oh man, my mom just yelled at me and I got bullied at school. Let's go log on and comment some hate comments. Like, that's not how that's working. So people are hating for a reason, right? Sometimes you will actually get the best input off people who are hating, right? If people are talking to you about something you're doing that's in a constructive way, I do recommend you should listen, right? The big thing is never let something guide how you do things that you haven't thought before, right? I'm trying to think of an example. I can't think of a direct one right now, so I'm gonna just make something up that might be akin to something I've gone through, right? I don't really know. I know this has happened to me, but I can't think of a direct example right now. You know, let's say I was always really insecure about my camera being a little bit low quality, right? In the past, I used like an old digital camera because it's all I could use, right? Then I got a bunch of comments that were like, dude, this camera sucks, it's really bad. I would obviously notice these comments getting to me more because I already believed it, right? It's something I'm insecure about. That is actually, there's a balance to be found, for sure. You don't want to automatically listen to people, right? Because then you're just going to end up being a conglomeration of what other people want, and that's never good either. But there's a balance of like, you know, I'm feeling this a little deeply, I haven't wanted to do this, maybe this is an area to improve, right? You don't want to listen to everybody because then you're just going to end up being nothing, right? You got to have a balance, for sure. But there are areas to improve. If people are commenting things that will genuinely get you to improve, that sometimes isn't hate, that's just like actual advice. And that's important to know when you first start out. Some people won't get your vision. Those are the good hate comments, you know? I've gotten videos or comments on stuff like this where it's like, also never do what I'm doing right now. Never mention comments in the past that you remember. Really bad idea, but we're safe here. I've gotten comments in the past that are like, hey, you should make this series more about like the process of painting every day, where it's just you painting and talking about the painting the whole time. That's a cool idea. That's actually, you know, awesome. Not what I'm trying to do here, right? The fact that person commented that and is probably never going to watch again is good. That's good. They're going to find the thing they want to find. I'm doing the thing I want to do. And it's important in that case, as much as their idea isn't bad, to recognize like, okay, they don't see the vision that I'm trying to do here, and that's okay, right? Once again, this is a good sign. That means you have a vision. That means you have something interesting you're trying to do, right? It's important to make sure that the right people are finding you. Usually, of course, before I talk about the burger example of like, you want the burger guy to hate on you if you're the pizza guy. That's usually not how it's gonna happen. It's gonna be a lot more subtle than that, right? Something like that, where it's like, there is something exact this is being positioned to. There's a specific type person that likes what I do here in this cube. This is for them, right? That understanding is the most important thing, right? I think what I'm trying to get at here is that thoughts don't come from nowhere. There's no such thing as blind haters, right? Well, there are dumb people, of course. There are just people who are always, you know, there are some people, of course. But for the most part, it's not a real thing to have just like, oh man, this guy is just an internet troll. Like, that's not always how it goes, right? A lot of it is going to be people who are doing another thing than you, and they like another thing that you're not doing. And because of that, you end up in a different league than them. And I think that, you know, what I'm pitching here is not so much that we are like, I love the haters, you know, I'm not saying people who are commenting mean things online, still losers at the end of the day. Let's cover that for sure. These guys are still losers if they're doing that. You know, how many people do you know in your life that are like, man, I'm a super popular guy and I love commenting hate comments online, right? Still losers, but I think they're losers you can learn a lot from, mainly off who's commenting them, what they're commenting, and what gets to you and what doesn't get to you, right? This is, of course, should probably have emphasized as a start, my own way of doing this, right? This is me. This is my mind, how it applies to stuff like this. I've been on the internet for a long time. I've gotten a lot of these. So that's how that's going to work for me. Some people might not view it this way at all. Some people genuinely do. It's bad for their mental health. They just genuinely need to ignore every negative comment they get. That's equally valid, right? I think that's a very important distinction to make, one I should have made at the front of this episode. But nonetheless, I painted the Pepsi logo, and it's crushing my heart. So I thought this would be a really cool way to do some contrast and then have this in the middle splitting it. I messed up the thing in the middle already, but it doesn't even matter because this is just the Pepsi logo and you can't unsee it once you see it. So if Pepsi wants to hit me up, I can maybe get this in your HQ. I know it's not too far from me, actually, I believe. Wait, I think they might have moved out of New York. Are they in New York still? I don't know. Pepsi, I love you. I drink Diet Pepsi every day, actually. It's my favorite soda. Fun fact. So, hit me up, Pepsi. This is for you, because I hate it. So, shout out. Anyways, what do you guys think about today's topic? Any hate to give? That'd be great. That'd be very on theme, it seems. And until next time, guys, gals, and pals, my name is Max Ice. This has been Paint and Talk episode 208. I'm here every morning, painting and talking with you all.